Good afternoon, everyone. Eric here. Welcome to Read the Right Thing, and let's get into it. So today I'm going to be talking about a book called Atlas Shrugged. And Atlas Shrugged, is this a book an homage to greed or an homage to ambition and capitalism? It depends on who you are and when you read it, I guess. Atlas Shrugged is said to be one of the most influential books. Many people place it right up there next to the Bible. CEOs and business leaders all around use Atlas Shrugged as inspiration and, if you want to say, justification for their ambition and entrepreneurial ways. Rand herself called Atlas Shrugged a murder mystery book. She said, not about the murder of a man's body, but about the murder and rebirth of a man's spirit. This book shows what happens when you remove ambitious people from the world. I think Rand is saying ambition, even if it borders on greed, in the end is good for everyone. Now, Atlas Shrugged, it was a novel in 1957 written by Ayn Rand, and it was Rand's fourth and final novel. And I haven't read any of her other ones. This is the only book I've read. I actually received this book as a gift for Christmas. My grandma bestowed upon me her copy that she read. And she was one of those people who said it was one of the most influential books she had ever read. My grandma talks about how when she was growing up in a religion, they would often say, if you have money, you might be a bad person. And people who worked hard and made money felt bad. They felt like they shouldn't have these things. After she read Atlas Shrugged, she said she felt that it was okay to work hard and make money. That did not make you a bad person. Atlas Shrugged includes elements of mystery, romance, science fiction, and it has a little bit of everything. At times, I swore I was in the world of Mad Men, or I swear I was in a murder mystery. And at other times, it really read like a science fiction book. And I guess it should feel like all these different things because it's such a monster of a book. You know, it's one of the longest books I've ever read, and checking in at over 1,000 pages. It's a very long book, and the author really goes into details about every single character. She spares no details. It's also interesting that, according to the Wikipedia page, it says Atlas Shrugged received largely negative reviews after its 1957 publication, but achieved enduring popularity and ongoing sales in the following decades. After several unsuccessful attempts to adapt the novel for film or television, a film trilogy based on it was released in 2011 to 2014. I haven't seen these movies, but it says these films were critical and box office failures, so I think I'll go ahead and skip them. The book has also achieved currency among conservative and libertarian thinkers and politicians. So the book, it follows several different characters. The main character is Dagny Taggart. She's the operating vice president of a train company, Taggart Transcontinental Railroad. She keeps the company going even though the economy is unstable. And this book really delves into the relationships, the backstories, and the thoughts of all these characters. So Ayn Rand, she spares no details. She really goes into the backstories, the thoughts, and a lot of different details that these characters have. Like I said, it's a mystery. It has romance. It has love affairs, and it's kind of an ode to capitalism all at the same time. So why should you read this book, even though it's 1,000 plus pages? I would say I would want to read this book just to see what all the fuss is about. You know, how everyone does say it's so influential, and I think it will turn people on to capitalism a little more. Even if you think it's the worst thing ever and you hate Jeff Bezos and you hate all these millionaires, it might spark your mind, and you might start to think that these people maybe aren't so bad. They do a lot of good for the world too. This book, it might even inspire you to pursue, an ambitious idea or a business venture. A lot of CEOs and a lot of people said that this book inspired them, and they make this required reading for all of the people on their board. It's Dagny Taggart, the main character. She does sort of remind me of the Don Draper in that she's very smooth. She has a lot of love affairs, and she won't take no for an answer, and she has ideas and she sticks to them, and she will scratch and claw and do whatever it takes to keep her business, to keep her life, to keep the America that she likes afloat. According to an article in Forbes, some of the reasons you should read this book is because its treatment of human potential. It says Atlas Shrugged is a brilliant exposition of things that are made possible by the rational, thinking human mind. Amazing stories throughout this book of people doing really cool things, even amidst great challenges. The second reason is its exploration of how society disintegrates when we deny human nature. So what happens to society when you disintegrate these human ideas and human potential? What happens when you tell these movers and shakers and brilliant people that they can't do what they're best at? Every choice has a consequence. And Atlas Shrugged, it traces these choices and shows the overall effect of what even good intentions can have. Sometimes good intentions have a negative effect on people. It makes you really think about present day America and where America is going, what type of America we should have, whether we should put all the chips in the table and become more capitalistic, or whether we should possibly pull that back a little bit. I would love to hear the opinions of maybe someone who's anti-capitalist. I would love to hear their opinion of this book. I think that'd be a good discussion if you had Jeff Bezos and Bernie Sanders and they had a discussion on Atlas Shrugged. I would watch. The book also has this storyline of political versus economical forces and how those two forces can oppose each other. So that's kind of what I liked about the book. I liked how it had all these different genres, science fiction, romance, all these types of different things. Let's get into my dislikes. I thought it was a little long-winded at times. You know, it is a long book, and it's a lot to commit to. So I disliked how long it was at times. I thought it could have been a little punchier. She could have gotten her point across maybe without going into all of the details. But at the same time, I get it, you know. The more detail you go into, the more backstory you give, the more you can connect with a character, the more real they feel. I really love movies that are somewhat longer, maybe like Martin Scorsese's The Irishman. You know, some people, their hang-up was it was too long. Well, if you don't have the length and the backstory and all of these things, then sometimes the characters don't work. And that may have been the case with Atlas Shrugged. You know, and you can tell this was one of her passion projects. So she really wanted to leave no stone unturned and really drive her point home. So it is a long book. It's a lot to commit to. The way I read it is I set a goal and I read a certain amount of pages each day. And I don't like to do this, but I ended up reading the audiobook, you know, at times, and that really helped. I would read this just to see what all the hype was about.